is like in 2023 or 2020. He was honking hard on the wheel of his M6. He's on an on-ramp with two emergency. He was honking so hard, the wheel said, pick a direction. He accidentally triggered the voice control button on his steering wheel would put the Siri on his phone. He said, he yelled, pick a direction. He did not actually say pick a direction. He put an F-bomb in there. And then Siri sorry, I couldn't find a song with that title. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Magger from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf.
And as always, we have lots of topics to get started with, so shall we go ahead and get started with our... Hang on, this is numbered wrong. Okay, with the Idiot Award. So, I believe they're mine, Idiot Award nominations.
I have no idea. Oh, wow. I have to search a ways back to find them.
Yeah, there's been lots of stuff going on in the tech group chat that I don't think this is really anything that you guys need to know on the podcast quite yet.
Nope.
But, I have Idiot Award nominations, though, so, we're...
Oh, I have the one, too.
Alright, so my first one is how to downgrade the iPhone 4 to iOS 4.0 or 7.1.1. This seems to be a popular video for Idiot Award nominations, but this guy commented, I have a Windows computer, does this still work for it? And this is a macOS method, mind you. And I stated that in the video and in this video's title.
It should be obvious.
Yeah, and then this is another one of my favorite ones on this is on my downgrade tutorial of how to downgrade the iPod 3rd generation to iOS 4.1. This is a bit of an unusual Idiot Award nomination for my downgrade tutorials, because this guy commented, the fact that you have a wallpaper on your home screen proves that you do not install iOS 4. Now, granted, this guy's not an enthusiast. I do get why he might think that, because the two devices that were stuck on iOS 4, being the iPhone 3G and the iPod Touch 2nd generation, they did not support home screen wallpapers natively. But the other devices on iOS 4 did. So I get why he might think that. But I first of all, I did prove in that video that it was iOS 4. But I replied, iOS 4 introduced the home screen wallpaper to all devices besides the iPhone 3G and iPod Touch 2nd generation. And this one right here, I don't remember what video or post this is on, but this one guy commented, where do I get it from? And I replied, what do you mean by it? Because I think this is on a jailbreak tutorial. Let me actually go back in my YouTube studio and see. Because I remember... Channel comments, newest... Oh, this is on the App Store's back on iOS 4 through 6 video. Because there's lots of things that I could be referring to, but yeah, I don't have any more, so, what's yours?
This is another one on my airport time capsule video. That seems to be the most
popular video for you to get Idiot Award nominations.
I'm not entirely sure why, but nonetheless, here it is.
Is that the same? I remember.
What? Camera.
Did this guy comment to one of the Idiot Awards on mine too? Because that username looks awfully.
Yeah, that's the same one.
On mine. I don't think so.
Wait, is it?
Has a very similar profile picture though.
Oh, nope, it's not. It's not.
Okay, I think we've only had one Idiot Award nomination who's won it, who's done it on both our channels.
Both of it, yeah, the one being unlisted, I think. Nonetheless, apparently people think I look like Steve Jobs.
I've never seen you wear a turtleneck. You don't even have round glasses.
Yeah, these are very square
you're,
glasses.
Not bald yet, although according to some of your genes, that may change. And I know Steve Jobs.
Don't remind me. Did Steve ever wear these?
I've seen Steve Jobs wear like suits and such, and I mean, he might have done it off camera, but I don't think Steve Jobs ever wore hoodies. I mean, I don't even wear hoodies, but I'm a little bit weak. I dress a little bit abnormally, so.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Steve Jobs in a sweatshirt, let alone a white one for that matter. He was always in a black turtleneck all the time.
And even when he wasn't, he was usually wearing a suit or something. But yeah, that's aside the point. But shall I move? Do you have anything more to say about that, or shall I move on to our next topic?
That's all I have for that one. So what's
did you watch some?
Speaking
did you
of
watch?
Apple CEOs,
did you watch Snags Labs' latest YouTube video by chance, or one of them? About how Macs are the best value computers right now.
I did watch that one.
So
yes, I have.
So in that video, he mentioned how Tim Cook stated in a December 2025 interview that the RAM shortages had little impact on their manufacturing costs due to multi-year supply chain deals. Now, this is not going to say that Apple products aren't going to hike in prices. We'll talk more about in the rumor section, especially. This is definitely not a guarantee for that, but at least this does give us maybe a little bit more security. But I'll let Alf talk.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do see how, because Tim Cook is all about supply chains. That's, if I recall, that was one of the biggest reasons why he was hired in the first place. It was to get supply chains in order and get production to run smoothly, so that way they can keep the costs down to produce these things. So for that, yeah, I'm not shocked. Why is anybody else shocked? Tim Cook being the supply chain guy, he's got contracts that span out years. Although something that I think Quinn failed to mention is that some of those contracts, particularly with TSMC, are starting to come to a bit of an end. And
are being voided?
No, I wouldn't say being voided. It's just contracts have an expiration date. And that expiration date is coming up quickly, at least from what I've been hearing as of late. And if that's the case, the renewal process, that's not going to go so great for Apple, because that means they need to renegotiate pricing. And, well, let's just say a few other companies, NVIDIA, basically bought out the majority of TSMC's fab lines to produce AI hardware devices. So, yeah, on one hand, the whole deal about Apple not getting heavily impacted by the supply chain going haywire just yet, well, that's because they've had pre-existing contracts, and so where's the surprise? That's just normal business. Though I know at some point those contracts are going to expire. They will need to be renegotiated. And when they get renegotiated, Tim is not going to be happy about that. If he even is still CEO.
Yeah, because this is rumored to be the year where I'll step down, which that'll be interesting to see how Apple navigates a new supply chain. I'm honestly not sure if Tim Cook will still want to step down now, since they're going to need a supply chain expert to manage the supply chains during this apocalypse.
Well, he might not step down, like completely leave Apple. I'm thinking he's just going to step down as CEO.
It'll be interesting to... Yeah, this might not be a time where Apple will want to change CEOs, but that's just my thoughts. But shall we go ahead and move on to our next topic? That's going to probably be a very quick one.
Oh, yeah. Anybody buying the new Samsung
The
S26?
Samsung Galaxy S26. I don't even know what they did this year, and honestly, I don't care because I haven't heard of anything.
Well, I do know two things. One, they're a worse value than last year because they rose the prices.
That's kind of obvious. That is actually obvious.
And then the other thing, well, I guess there's three things. Another thing, they once again copied Apple by adding a plateau to their cameras.
Oh, Samsung, this is the worst area you could copy Apple on.
So they still haven't learned what they need to fix. Well, part of what they need to fix.
Let me look up a picture of it to see how bad it looks.
But the final... Yeah, go ahead. Google a picture of it. But then there's the final thing that actually I think is kind of
cool. It's not as bad as Apple's, but how ugly.
It's still worse than before.
How ugly.
Yep. So, but there is one new feature that they've launched with the Ultra. Remember how you tried one of those privacy screen
Yes,
protectors?
I heard about that. And the problem was that it was a little bit too private.
Yeah. Well, apparently Samsung has innovated in the display space once again and created this new display that you can switch between privacy mode, which functions basically the exact same way a privacy screen protector does, and off. Just normal viewing mode with the normal viewing angles.
That's... Granted, that is definitely an Android phone gimmick. I'll give Samsung credit for that. At least they're still innovating in the Android way, but still, I mean, the camera plateau, that's like that's the worst area to copy Apple. But we've rambled on this stupid thing, or should I say, we've rambled on this stupid thing way too much. So, shall I go ahead and move on to our next topic? That's also just as disappointing.
Pixel 10a. Okay. You might know more about this than
So the Pixel 10a has, I think it has like literally a brighter screen, and that's literally it. That's literally the only change they made, which, I mean, granted, average Joes care about a brighter screen, but, honestly, I think the Pixel 10a is asking a little bit too much for a budget Android.
How much does it cost?
I mean, it's still a mid-ranger, so I think it costs the same as a normal A series phone. I don't remember how much that is, but it's not necessarily horrible value, but it's just that didn't even change anything, so it's... Let me look up, actually. Just get an exact idea. Store... Oh, store 404, that's an error. You cannot access store.google.com.
Well, of course, that would be convenient if you could.
Pixel 10a, okay, let's see. Google Fi's website is down, too.
Is Google down just period?
It's not entirely down. It's like around $500, okay. It's usually $500, so... Given that the Pixel 9a... Let me look at how much a Pixel 9a costs, because that's because the Pixel 9a is... Honestly, the Pixel 9a, I mean, it's not brand new, so granted most people probably won't buy it, but I mean, still... Oh, you can already get 9As for around $300. That have literally almost the exact same features. And save $200.
Yeah, that would make more sense to go for the 9A if you were shopping
if
for
you like a used phone,
Androids.
but that's too... Wow, you can save 60% and just get a darker screen, which, mind you, display... Something that people don't think about is that displays... Displays can't get as bright as they age too, so the display brightness, that's going to go, that benefit is, I mean, granted it won't age quite as fast, but it's still good, the display brightness is still going to go away after a while, so.
I think the battery's going to go kaput long before the display actually
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, there's still 20-year-old LCD monitors still look great all these years later, even if they've been heavily used, so. I'm not saying that that's going to be a major issue, but still, like that was just one thing I wanted to point out. So if you really want to save money, save $200 and get the 9A. But shall we move on to our next topic?
Yep. What's next? Speaking of Android, we're still on Android, I guess.
So the first beta of Android 17 has been released, and apps are required now to optimize for different screen sizes, which I don't know how well it's going to work because the Android app ecosystem is so vast, but if this does wind up working, then this is going to be such a miracle, because one of the biggest problems that Android's had, especially on devices that aren't phones, for the longest time is that Android apps just haven't been optimized for proper screen sizes, and so of tablets and Android TVs and whatnot. So this will be so, and well, especially now Android computers, now they're a thing again. So this will be, at least they'll be a little bit more optimized for the screen sizes. Again, I'd say size.
I'm not entirely sure how that works, though, because, I mean, it's not just screen sizing that's different between Androids. It's also aspect ratios, resolution.
I think those are included in there, but yeah, I think that's included in there, too. But yeah, you make a valid point there.
I mean, just in general, this is a common problem with, like, Windows even. How do you expect Windows applications to optimize to a PC when they can be in any infinite configuration?
They just have to set specific hardware. A lot of it's honestly up to. That's one thing. That's one reason why PCs often have to have drivers. Like you don't really think about PC drivers unless you reinstall an operating system on a computer, and then you have to get drivers. Like that's why older computers used to always come with restore CDs rather than just a simple Windows CD or DVD. So that way, you would have the exact drivers.
It's just in general. It's a common drawback when between Windows and Android. It's just you've got so many different hardware configurations out there, and on the Windows side, it's not necessarily from a screen size or screen utilization aspect. For Windows, it's more of a it needs to be able to run on not just a high performance PC, but you could also have like this cheap $200 crappy PC with almost no performance, but yet we want to make sure the application can still just barely run on that. That's just a huge range of performance that those applications have to optimize themselves for. And it's gotten to the point now where they've just given up and they just say, okay, you need to have a DGPU, and if you don't, then, well, you're screwed. You can't run our application for whatever reason. But with Android, it's like you can't even change the hardware. You can't upgrade. At least with a PC. If your PC's too slow,
usually
you can swap out components.
Unless they're soldered down.
Usually, yes. But with Android, due to the compact nature of trying to fit all of that into a small form factor and also keep it more durable, because, I mean, let's face it, the computer behind me does not really need to be that durable. The only thing that could break that is if I am moving it around, which I never do,
or if a
earthquake happens.
Or if a really, really bad storm happens. Like I'm talking like EF5 hurricanes.
Yeah. And at that point, I've got bigger problems than making sure my computer survives. So, on one hand, I don't need that to be as durable, but a smartphone, I mean, there's a reason why durability tests are a thing for smartphones. It's because they can break quite easily in an everyday environment. Outside of a bedroom. Oftentimes they're out in nature even. So it's a tough task to be able to design a phone to be upgradable. So yeah, what performance on an Android, whatever you get is whatever you bought, and that's it. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but nonetheless, I understand that it's very difficult to optimize applications on Android and Windows, and I understand why Google's trying to start tightening down on this because, let's face it, Apple has had this advantage for so long, and clearly it's been showing lately that a lot of people actually care about that optimization. But it's just at the same time, how do you optimize for infinite? How do you optimize for infinite possibilities?
Exactly.
Because you will find both extremes.
Exactly. That's why a couple of years ago, there was a policy where it was, I believe it was 2 years ago, Google had a policy where where app developers had to optimize apps properly for Android tablets. Like that was a requirement in order to get ranked higher in the Play Store, and that's just never. But let's face it, Android tablets, I'm not saying they don't have a significant place in the market because they do sort of, but they're at the same time they're not that. You don't buy Android tablets for optimized apps most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time you're buying it because they're cheap and you're already in the Android ecosystem. Like the only tablets that I see out there that are not iPads or Amazon Kindle crap, those
which are Android tablets which are definitely Android tablets too.
Yeah.
With even worse app optimization.
But the only ones that I see are just Samsung tablets.
I don't even know. I honestly don't even remember the last time I saw an iPad tablet that wasn't even an iPad out in the wild. That wasn't one of my dad's Kindle Fires, or else wasn't in my own collection. Because I just don't see them often.
The only place where I see them are here in my house because the majority of my family uses Android. Therefore, their tablets are also Android devices. And my grandparents' place. My grandpa, big Samsung fan, so he buys Samsung tablets all the time. But other than that, if anybody else has a tablet, it's either a crappy Kindle or an iPad of some sort. Most of the time, it's just a budget iPad.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time. Or else it's yeah, that's basically all the old tablets I see. But yeah, shall I go ahead and move on to our next topic since I feel we butchered that topic to death?
I'd say so. So I guess we got some scam
Yep,
stuff.
so there's a new Shopify scam where the scammers set up a store, place a fake number on a fake order page that sends as push notifications to people's emails registered with Shopify, or else as push notifications to people's lock screens on their phones. And the number that's listed on those pages, the fake one, is a scam to hijack victims' Apple IDs, as they claim, turns out this is actually a problem for your Apple ID. You need to reset. You need to give us this code, and we'll take care of it. And that's the code to hack into the Apple ID of the victim.
Mm-hmm. And this is why I stick to shopping local when I can.
I mean that's not an issue with shopping on Shopify. I should say that's more of an issue when that's just like a scam push notification that comes through. So it's no different than a spam. It literally is just a spam email.
Good to know.
So yeah, that's good to know. But the next scam this one should be more obvious, but this is apparently another trending one that I thought I'd cover, which is that there's these fake short form tragic videos from creators running scam websites that claim, this business is failing or whatnot, but you can buy our own handcrafted stuff, or it's usually always handcrafted stuff, and it's just a drop shipping scam. It's just cheap Chinese crap that you're buying.
I mean, if a company's going out of business, then what's the point of buying anything? They're going out of business.
They claim that, you're trying to save the business or whatever, or it's a going out of business sale.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah. Shall we move on to our next topic? That's a fascinating one.
Speaking of scams.
You thought that the January Windows 11 update was bad.
I swear these guys are not. I swear these guys are literally just using the AI crap to program Windows.
They probably are, but so the February Windows 11 update. Do you want me to list all the issues that Sam Time reported in his latest video about that?
List them away.
It's failing to install. Yes, an update is fail. A Windows update is failing to install.
Not a problem with Mac.
That's not wrong because Windows computers always force you to update. Bluetooth is breaking. It may play a loud popping sound every second when fans are running at full blast. So that way it claims that you can supposedly hear the audio from your game or whatever while it's going on. It's freezing at the sign-in screen. Systems are no longer recognizing HDMI monitors.
Oh! That one I've experienced! This guy right here!
You updated that? You installed that update?
Dude, it's Windows. Do they give you a choice?
Oh, but I'm not done, because it's also now preventing internet access due to a DHCP error.
I have not had that happen yet.
Oh my gosh, this is a...
But no, the HDMI monitor thing. I'll be doing some stuff on this, and then roughly 25 minutes later, the screen just goes on the fritz. And then a minute or two after the screen going on the fritz, I completely lose the monitor, and I literally have to unplug the computer to shut it down.
I'm guessing that is also not a problem when you use your monitor of your Mac.
Also not a problem with Mac. Yes.
I think there's a common theme, which is that none of these are problems with Macs. But shall I move on to our next topic, speaking of Microsoft?
I mean, I read ahead on this topic, and let's just say that I'm not surprised because I learned this was happening on my XPS.
Yes, this is now a trending topic, but so we have two topics. We have two subtopics regarding Microsoft Office, which is that on iOS and Android, it's automatically uploading files to OneDrive before users realizing that's probably also an issue on Windows. Which again, that's bad because there's some places like Alpha's company where you're prohibited to back up to the cloud, and the Office app on iOS and Android rebranded to a second Copilot app that does the same thing as the pre-existing Copilot app. So now you can't even do anything from the main Office app. It's not Copilot related.
Does anybody even use the main Office app?
Apparently some people do, but but now it's just a second Copilot app. So because we all need a second Copilot app, mind you, because they already have a Copilot app that you can just download. That is the thing.
What the heck? I mean, I've already uninstalled Copilot from all of my computers. I finally figured out how. So, I don't know. What happens if I turn this on and check for updates? Am I going to find it?
No, that's not. That's only.
I want to see. Can we get it to recreate the display bug on
This is only a thing on iOS and Android, so no, the bug is not. So no, it's not going to be a thing. But yeah, because it'll probably be a minute before the HDMI bug occurs. Sean, we'll go ahead and move on to our next topic. Speaking of Microsoft.
Yeah. What's oops. Switch sources here. What's the next?
So
Microsoft
Xbox's
problem?
new CEO is focusing on turning Xbox into a service instead of a good. Mm-hmm. So in other words, it's just going to become a subscription service. That's bad, as we've discussed in so many episodes.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, though. They've been really stagnant on releasing hardware for quite a while. I'm trying to remember, how old is the Xbox Series X? Because that's their latest console.
Xbox Series. No, it's the Series X. That's right.
Yeah, when did that come out?
Date, 2020. Which, granted, that is the same as the PlayStation 5, so...
Okay, fair enough.
It really has not done well.
No, it hasn't. And I haven't heard I'm not in any gaming communities at all, but from what I hear based on advertising and some of my other friends, from what I'm hearing, it seems like most of the gaming talk has either moved to PC, or if you have to stay console, PlayStation.
Yeah, same, because the Nintendo Switch 2 is now not laughing stock, so yeah, I get... Which, by the way, that is kind of BS marketing, because technically the OLED Nintendo Switch was the second Nintendo Switch, but that's... I digress, but yeah, but that's Xbox.
Yeah.
Boxing. Yeah, I guess that's sad news for Xbox. Shall we move on to our next topic that's actually a bit of an interesting one? So due to a patent lawsuit with Nokia, Acer and Asus must halt PC sales in Germany.
Nokia makes PCs?
I don't know what this patent lawsuit is relating to, so I don't think so. Let me look it up just to make sure. Nokia PC. Yes! Nokia makes PCs.
Huh.
Oh my god. They have the Nokia PureBook X14, Nokia PureBook S14, Nokia PureBook Pro, which looks exactly like a MacBook Pro, the Nokia PureBook Lite 14.1, which looks exactly like a old MacBook Air, and then the Nokia PureBook Fold, which is basically like a laptop that folds into a tablet like my old Chromebook.
Don't sound very appealing.
Yeah, Nokia makes PCs. Nokia is based in the European Union, though, so they obviously get the upper hand when it comes to Germany.
So that's why Acer and Asus are being sued, because the Europeans don't like what American tech is
Acer
doing.
And Asus I'm pretty sure Acer and Asus are based in Taiwan.
Okay, well, still, my point being that they have no big tech, so they feel the need to boss everybody around if they want to be, if they want products to be sold in the EU.
Acer's based in Taiwan. Let me see about Asus headquarters. Also Taiwan.
I think they might be. Yeah, I thought Asus was
Taiwanese
as well.
Yeah, so judging by the design of Nokia's laptops, which I'm starting to think that it's Nokia's fault instead, but yeah, that is a violation of antitrust, European Union. I mean,
what do they care?
Granted, this is just in Germany, don't. So it's not the whole EU. So now I don't even think Nokia is based in Germany. So Nokia headquarters. Yeah, Nokia is based in Finland. Okay, so
Finnish.
Yeah, so I don't know what this is about then. I mean, Finland's in the EU, so I guess maybe that's why. But wouldn't the whole EU ban it? So I don't know what the. This doesn't make sense.
It's beyond.
I didn't even know that Nokia made PCs, so.
We just learned that today.
There's something new to look. And by the way, guys, if you're watching the video version of this, please comment down below if you knew that Nokia made PCs before listening to watching this episode. I'm very curious to know if you knew that.
nonetheless, speaking of foreign tech companies, what's DJI
So the
up
DJI
to?
Romo robot vacuum has security so poor that man remotely accessed thousands of them, and DJI will luckily fix it in an update within the next few weeks. That's not that.
Another reason not to get robot vacuums, I guess.
That's only a DJI thing because it's with the infrared cameras, but I mean, that's still not. That's rare, but I mean, DJI shouldn't have let a security flaw go like that, since this is. Do you remember that FaceTime bug back in early 2019 with some iOS 12 update?
Where it would secretly answer the phone
Yep.
after you decline it?
Yeah, as long as you just had a phone number. With group face, it was when group FaceTime just released. But yeah, so basically, luckily when that happened, Apple fixed that almost immediately. But
yeah.
Apple.
But I mean, this type of stuff, I mean, sure, it's DJI specific right now. This could happen
That's
to
true,
any
but I mean,
tech company.
DJI, they need to be a lot faster about this, because you don't want robots getting unauthorized access to homes like that. So DJI needs to be a lot faster with this, but yeah, that's really all I have to say about this. So shall we move on to our next topic?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Apparently the Artemis 2 is now a thing. You don't know what Artemis is? That's SpaceX's mission to go to Mars, and that's the rocket series design for that.
Oh, well, I don't follow SpaceX that closely,
Yeah, but
so I really
the
don't know
Artemis
much
2,
about
I've heard that it's got improved specifications, so
Again, where's NASA on this whole thing? I just like to point that out.
every time.
People like to say NASA's so reputable and NASA's like the I guess the top space contender in the US. It's like, no, I don't know how.
Exactly.
Because if I recall, NASA right now is still trying to figure out how to get another man on the moon. And SpaceX is already beyond that. Like, okay, we've done that. How about we try to get a man on Mars?
That'll be. Yeah, which mind you, if you want to praise Elon for something, praise him for SpaceX, for crying out loud. Because that's one thing. That is one thing that he has stayed on top of. That's probably. Yeah, that's one thing he stayed on top of, I'll say.
That is genuinely the one space corporation that is actually innovating. Because, I mean, I don't know if there's another company out there that has developed reusable rockets just yet. But we do know that SpaceX was 100% definitely the first to make reusable rockets. And has also been one of the first to get a rocket to actually land itself without destroying itself.
And they're likely to be the first to get people on Mars.
Yeah, SpaceX is where all of the innovation and where all of the exploration? I don't know. But point is, I think SpaceX is the furthest ahead in whatever race compared to NASA or any other space agency.
That's really all I have to say, because we're not really space experts. But we just thought I'd mention that because that's part of Elon's leading companies, I guess. But shall we move on to Waymo?
Uh-oh. What's
So
going
Waymo is now the official ride-hail partner of Stanford Athletics.
Okay. I'm not sure why that's news.
That's not great, but yeah.
Really not sure what's newsworthy about
Yeah,
that. I mean, it'd be more newsworthy if something happened to Waymo instead of being, I guess, an official partner. I don't know.
that's really all I have to say about that. Other than the fact that because sports always get sponsored with so many things, like Apple is the official smartphone maker for the NFL, or all this nonsense. I mean, it doesn't really mean that much. But shall we go ahead and move on to our next topic that actually does mean something?
Oh, yeah, this is really great news. Well, for some people, I guess I should clarify. The good news is used Tesla prices are actually beginning to increase.
That's also bad news, especially if you're going to buy a Tesla used one.
Yeah, that's the bad news. If you were looking to buy a used Tesla, that means you have to pay more.
Unless you negotiate.
But now this should mean
enough and manage to get a sucker for a seller.
Yeah, but I mean, we've needed them to start going up. Well, I appreciated them dropping so low, because now that means they're attainable to people like me, for example. I just have not been in a position just yet to actually pull the trigger due to another car that I have. But nonetheless, I will say there was benefits to them being low to open up the entry point.
Especially for me.
For people who don't have as much money. Yeah. For people who don't have as much money to spend on a car, that it was a great entry point for people to get into their first EV. I get it. That's great and all. But the ultimate problem that I think it caused is it started to make people ask legitimate questions like, how are the vehicles losing this much money this quickly?
Exactly. And now that the vandalism scandal has gone away, I mean, it makes sense. And now that the tax credit is going away, I mean, it makes sense that EV prices are rising, so I'm not shocked by it. I'm annoyed this is happening, but I'm not shocked by it. And so...
Yeah. If anything, too, it's the market finally correcting itself, because when you introduce a subsidy, this is another reason why I was not a fan of the tax credit to begin with. When you introduced a subsidy like that, people legitimately do not know how to value the cars. And because you could buy a brand new one for almost... what's the percentage? It's you could effectively buy a Model 3 for 20% off. That's just madness. And when you get to that type of discount, that type of money on the hood, at that point, well, why buy a used car? I can just get a new one for 20% off.
Exactly, and that's a similar problem American. So, and this also relates to a far more historic example of Japan's economy is officially described as state capitalism, where you can still open up your own business and everything, but the government will subsidize it like crazy, and that led to basically Japan getting a stranglehold on the electronics manufacturing industry, especially when it came to first transistor radios and then TVs and basically just all the electronics. As for the latter half of the 20th century, Japan basically managed to get almost a monopoly on the electronics market because of their subsidies, to the point where foreign American tech companies couldn't really compete that well for such a long time.
I mean, we're kind of seeing it today in the EV industry when you think about it, because China's been super heavily subsidizing their EV production, and just look.
I mean, that's a problem. I mean, that's a problem with that's a problem. That China's problem that expands to far more than just EVs. Because granted, luckily China can't really sell their EVs here. So for other foreign EV makers outside China, they don't have to worry about the American market unless China manages to bribe U.S. politicians to make it legal to sell But even then, that would also violate patent laws with the exterior designs. That's not. We talk about that so much, but that's one. But the problem, so at least we have that security. But the problem is that with other manufacturing, like China subsidizes the crap out of everything to the point where they can get a monopoly. They knew full well what they were doing when President Bill Clinton signed China into the World Trade Organization, and when they bribed him to sign them in. By the way, just wanted to point that out.
So, but no, yeah, nonetheless, when the tax credit came in, that's when the values of people will write off the plummeting used market sales. They write them off because people are unsure about used EV batteries, that type of thing. And while I'd say there's some merit to that, there's some. But to completely blame it on that, I think is totally ridiculous. Because for one, we know battery tech has been improving so much compared to a decade and a half ago.
Larger lithium-ion batteries just don't have the same degradation rate. Like all my old iPads still have far better battery life than all my iPhones and iPods and Macs. So we know that if you design them to be big enough, then Macs are a bit of an exception. That's because they have an inefficient x86 chips. If you design them properly, then they can last quite a while. Like even my first generation iPhone,
because you have a larger capacity, your cycle count or your frequency and how frequent you rack up the cycles, that decreases because it takes longer to do a cycle.
My first generation iPod from 2001, so it's turning 25 this year. I believe it still has its original battery in it. It still holds a charge. Now, granted, these were discontinued in 2002, so it's the youngest, 24 years old. Now, granted, does it hold a great charge? Absolutely not. It doesn't even hold full charge when you do a whole video on it. I have to literally charge it right before I film a video with it, which I probably should open it up to get a new battery in. That's the side of the point, but I can't. But it still holds a charge over 20 years later. Now, over 20 years, you're going to have a lot more issues. You're probably going to have more issues than just your battery.
Yeah, you'll be needing to service your suspension. You'll be needing to service bearings. Maybe your brakes at that point, but then again, it's an electric car. You're primarily relying on regenerative braking in the first place. I don't know, but the point is, the mechanical bits of the car are probably going to be in rougher condition than the battery by the time the battery would normally become a problem. Because if I recall, most of the time, the average EV battery tends to fail at around the 250,000 mile mark.
Most people don't keep their vehicles for that long. Anyway. Or if they do...
Yeah, and I mean, think of a gas car. At 250,000 miles, at that point, your engine needs major service. Because all of the wear components, if they had not been worn out just yet, they would have been worn out by then. And at that point, you're spending a crap ton of money to rebuild your engine at the 250,000 mile mark.
Exactly. So that's that's really all I have to say about that. So, do you have anything more to say?
Nonetheless, that's why I don't entirely believe everyone fearing. Oh, but what about the batteries? What the warranty? It's for one, battery packs have been getting cheaper. Has anybody noticed that? Has anybody just done a quick Google and Googled the actual cost of a battery pack? It's literally now come down to the same price as an engine rebuild or a transmission rebuild.
Which that's a little bit more reasonable. Because
your car's not going to be totaled out if the battery fails anymore.
Granted, most people typically get their new cars when their transmission or engine fails, but but not everybody does. Like my dad actually paid to get the transmission fixed in his BMW M6 last fall or last summer. Yeah,
Really?
he paid to get his transmission fixed.
That must have been a big bill.
He had to go to, I think, like, well, he tried to do it himself, but that failed. So he went to his local BMW dealership. That also, or they were going to charge way too much for that. So we had to get towed 70 miles to a special mechanic to do it. And all in all, it wound up being around $8,000. And the mechanic that did it finally charged like $8,000 for it.
Yeah, batteries are even cheaper than that nowadays. And I'm talking about the whole pack.
Now, granted, I should say that my dad does drive a BMW M6, so his transmission cost is probably not the average transmission cost. Oh, actually, it's probably cheaper than repairing a belt-driven CVT, though. Around...
I don't want to know how much it costs to repair a CVT. Oh,
a belt-driven CVT specifically, but yeah, that's...
Yeah. So, but yeah, nonetheless, the whole what about the battery after the warranty? By the time you get there, you're gonna have bigger problems to deal with than a battery pack. And so, but yeah, I as much as it kind of sucks for if you're looking to buy a used EV or a used Tesla, that yeah, now the prices are more expensive. I'm grateful in the fact that the market is finally starting to correct itself.
I mean, one thing that my dad and I did look at with my future Tesla is, I'm still unsure if I want to do this or not, but even though I'd only be able to get a car that's a couple of years newer if I did this, a Model S is not entirely out of the question.
I do not want to imagine that insurance bill.
I mean,
do you have any idea how much it costs to insure a Model S?
No, but yeah, no, that's not. But I mean, that. Do you have any idea how much our insurance costs anyway?
Well, given that you drive Mercedes vehicles, yeah, it's
and I'm 6, and I'm I'm 17 now. Yeah, I'm 17, almost 18. So yeah, it's good. So yeah, my insurance is already gonna be crazy anyway, and my dad's insurance is My dad's insurance, especially with his driving record, and the fact that he drives an M6, his insurance is probably crazy high. His insurance is probably crazy high too. I'm not saying my dad's a bad driver, but
I will
he
note,
used to be
for me at least, I'm not saying this would apply to you, but if I were to buy a Model 3 right now and get it insured, my insurance would triple.
I don't know how bad mine would be, but yeah, no. I don't think my dad also fully knows how expensive our insurance is, so... Yeah, he literally...
So, that's the one thing I'll warn you about the Model S, is those are quite pricey to insure, and it may be surprising.
Yeah, the Model S is going to be, but we did look at the Model S, and so if the Model 3s hike up enough to the point where I won't be able to get one quite as new as I initially thought, then I honestly might just go Model S, since Teslas they still might be discontinuing it anyway, and I'm like, I don't know, might be nice to have the extra features of a Model S.
That, and I mean, there's enough of not just an aftermarket, but parts are... The biggest thing to worry about a discontinued product is, are they going to make parts? And while I don't know specifically what Tesla will do for parts for that car, but I do know that third-party parts makers are plentiful enough that if you do need to fix the car, you can find parts.
Exactly. It's like how you can still find parts for even first-generation iPhones these days. And the Model S, another advantage of buying a Model S over a Model 3 is that this is one of the reasons why my dad bought an M6 this is actually one of the main reasons my dad bought an M6. But if you buy a Chevy Impala, did your PC have the modder bug? No.
Nope, it just went to sleep. It wanted to go to sleep. No, we'll see when it has the bug. It does something visually weird.
But it's like if you
So,
but like let's take a Chevy Impala for example. A Chevy Impala is eventually going to drop to like $500, like that kind of cheap. You're never going to see a Chevy Camaro you're never going to see a Camaro or Corvette drop that low because they have the higher.
Unless it's really badly damaged.
Yeah, you're never going to see them drop quite that low because they still have they're still rare cars to begin with, and they have their special rating, so they generally are going to retain their value more. So applying this to Tesla, the Model 3 is ultimately going to drop a lot more than the Model S. The Model S is not going to drop totally down, and it will appreciate faster than the Model 3, especially now they're getting rid of it. Because car collectors are going to become very passionate with the Model S. I know, I can say that for sure. Especially, plaids are probably going to get crazy expensive in a few years if Tesla doesn't ever bring it back.
So, yeah, that's something interesting to think about. I mean, I'll be honest, I've debated buying a used Model S instead of a Model 3 on the occasion, but I just know I've gotten insurance quotes before, and with insurance quoting me 3 times my current bill, which now that I think about it, in a couple months it's probably about to go up when I buy my second car, but just in general, when the Model 3, a car that's typically half the price of a Model S, when your insurance triples from what my current car currently is, which it's I'm at around $850 every 6 months. It actually dropped $100 from last billing cycle, which I am so grateful that happened. But yeah, basically I'd be jumping up to around $2,500 every 6 months if I were to get a Model 3. I would think you'd probably have to double that if I were to get a Model S.
Yeah, I mean, another reason why I'm considering a Model S is I know this is gonna sound stupid, but I mean I'm a Mercedes driver at the end of the day. Like, I mean, the Model 3 is still a great upgrade for a Mercedes driver, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. It's just the Model S is so much more of a cool factor than the Model 3.
True.
And it also doesn't. And it also has the speedometer.
I mean, there's a reason why I buy Buicks and GMCs over Chevrolets.
Exactly.
Even though Chevy does have the Corvette.
Yeah, well, that's a different kind of Chevy. That's not. I don't even know why they branded it as a Chevy for that matter. That's really not. That's really misappropriately branded.
It is interesting how, I mean, it might have to do with the Halo product. The Corvette is kind of Chevrolet's Halo product.
I mean, that I've always find it weird how car companies like will brand their supercars as under their affordable brands. Like Ford the Mustang, it's not the Lincoln Mustang, it's the Ford Mustang or the Dark Horse, and then the same goes with, I mean.
Well, in the case with Lincoln, I can make a case for Lincoln, and it's because Lincoln really doesn't focus on they don't brand themselves as a performance brand at all. They're the comfort-focused luxury brand, where comfort is top
the Lincoln
priority.
was even originally designed to be literally the presidential car for the president. So that's why, which is actually where it got its name from. So yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. But the Toyota Supra, it's not the Lexus Supra, it's the Toyota Supra.
And can't even make an argument for that because they make they made the RC and the LC, which those are performance cars.
Yeah, Lexus. I'm not saying Lexus doesn't make performance cars; they absolutely do. But yeah.
Oh, and they also had the LFA. So.
But
nonetheless, yeah, it is interesting how they'll choose to brand it as their lower end mainstream brand, but on one hand, though, I think it might have something to do with it's not about luxury, it's not about comfort, it's about enjoying yourself, getting raw power, and I don't know.
In the case of Ford and Chevy,
But,
it makes sense because when you think of Ford and Chevy, like I'm not, especially with Ford, like with Ford and Chevy, you think more there. Well, especially with Ford, like when you think of good Ford vehicles, like you think of the powerful Ford trucks, Chevy trucks, and the Ford Bronco, and the Chevy's not actually that well known for their SUVs. Yeah, you think of their more fun vehicles.
Yeah.
And even with Toyota, you can kind of make a similar argument because even with Toyota, like when you actually no, you can't. I mean, Toyota does have more fun vehicles, I guess you can say, like the 4Runner, but that's a bit of a different case. But yeah.
Well, I'd argue their more fun vehicles would be like the
Those
Supra
are the most
Corolla
fun.
GR.
I mean, affordable fun, I should say. Yeah, obviously the Supra is their extra fun car.
Well, the affordable fun one would be the Corolla GR
too. But yeah, that's just which hey, at least that's in the sedan. But shall I go ahead and move on to our next topic because we've been on quite a side tangent.
Yes, let's get back to EVs now because we still got some more EV stuff to talk about, and this is interesting.
EV owner
right
satisfaction has climbed to a new high recently, and 96% of EV owners would consider an EV as their next vehicle.
And this is why I do not believe EVs are a fad.
Exactly, because it's like how because people. I'm not saying the gas cars are going to go away entirely, but people who love EVs love them so much they're going to do everything to make sure they survive. That's why even though Tesla might not bring back the Model S immediately, it might be a few years. I predict that they might still someday have to bring it back because they're going to have especially, and I'm wondering now if Tesla will actually bring back the Model S based off if car collectors become really passionate for them.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, that's not today's question.
But yeah, well, I mean, I've hated how I've been recommended a video from one channel in particular. It's something about they're trying to prove that no, the people who own EVs they just hate them and
what
despise
channel is that?
Them. And it's the same BS over and over again. They don't have enough range, or they don't charge fast enough, or what happens to the battery after the warranty? Stupid.
What channel is that?
I don't remember. It stopped recommending it to me a few weeks ago, but basically the entire month of January, that's all I saw, and it's just. It's just dumb and stupid because we've pointed this out time and time again. The biggest thing that people have a hard time dealing with is it's different. But does different necessarily mean bad? And while you'd think no, you and I might think no, just because it's different, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Maybe there's an advantage here and there. We're able to look and try to find the advantages, even though they may not be obvious immediately. But the problem is the majority of people, if they see something is different, they are instantly turned off. They feel like they know what they want, and there's nothing that's going to change their mind, even if something better actually does come along and blows whatever they currently have out of the water.
Exactly.
But I know for a fact, especially I don't own any EVs right now. In fact, in a few months, I'm about to buy another gas car. I don't like it, but I don't really have much of a choice. But I have driven enough EVs, I have done enough research, and I know for a fact, when it comes to a daily driver vehicle especially, You legitimately cannot beat the electric vehicle. Charging at home. You can't do that with a gas car. You will always be beholden to the fueling infrastructure in your local area.
Or if you have a...
So that means if you live in California where your gas prices suck, well, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Versus an electric car, you can charge at home, so you're not beholden to anyone else
now
for
you know
getting
why
your energy.
EVs are so
But
popular
also,
in California.
you might think the power grid... Yeah, but also, let's take that a step further. Some people don't run their homes off the power grid. They have the ability to generate their own electricity.
Exactly, and even if you have a gas tank installed in your own yard, which not everybody has yards capable of doing that, you still have to get your gas from a separate oil company. Now, granted, that's cheaper than getting your own gas, but even if you're... But, like, there are some people that still have to use that for, like, the snowblower, like Alpha. Like, that's not... Like, my dad actually has a giant gas tank in his yard, but where he lives...
But even snowblowers are going electric, too. You can get electric snowblowers.
I'm not surprised by that, but that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. But, yeah, that's convenience. That's a major convenience. And while I get it, as of right now, not everybody's able to charge at home due to everyone renting their homes and being beholden to a stupid landlord that does not understand EVs and home charging in general. I do believe we will eventually get past this hurdle as adoption continues to grow. And so it's a problem we still have yet to tackle, but I just wanted to bring it up. That is a major convenience, not being beholden to the oil man or the fuel companies. It's that's nice on one hand. The next thing aside from that, reliability. There are so significantly fewer moving parts in an electric car than there is a gas car. That too, yes, fewer failure points. That is a big thing to always consider when designing something mechanical. The more parts you add, the more there is to go wrong. And from what I've learned with Red Fox, is it really annoying when you have so many different failure points that can go wrong. Because you're just always chasing them. You're always chasing the next failure point. But also, fewer parts means there's more room. There's more space. There's more room for your legs and your knees. There's more room to fit junk in the trunk. And hey, some companies have figured out, hey, now that we don't have an engine in the front, we can use that for storage as well.
Which again makes the point of, you need an SUV for storage even more pointless. Even though I can still fit everything in my gas stand just fine. But yeah, that makes that argument even more pointless.
Yep. That type of stuff right there. I'm not even talking environmental. Like for the longest time, that was everyone's biggest push to drive electric. It's just, you're saving the planet, or that type of stuff. That really is not up there for me. For me, it's the ability to no longer be beholden to the oil companies. The ability to fit more things in the same footprint. And then the driving experience. The driving experience, too. I have to add that in there. Once you feel the smoothness of an electric powertrain, it is really hard to go back to a gas car and deal with the clunky shifting transmission. Okay, maybe they're not always clunky, but it feels a lot clunkier when you build power, you build speed, and then all of a sudden, wait, you're not building speed because your transmission has to shift, and then you build speed again, and we got to shift again, and it just the smoothness of the powertrain. Sure, it's less fun to an extent. I mean, well, when you have the ability to go 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds in some electric cars, I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty fun. But
and that's also a lot safer in big state traffic.
I understand it removes the drama. It does remove the drama. I understand why car enthusiasts are upset about that. But when I've had a long day at work, especially on the bad days, I just don't want any more drama. And so you learn to appreciate that smoothness. It's also very handy in stop and go traffic. I'm looking at you, Stardust.
Yeah, that makes perfect. I'm sure it's perfect for when the bridge closes.
Oh. Well, it's actually not a problem here in town because traffic is so light. My problem is interstate traffic
That's what
jams.
I meant more, yeah, but that's a valid point. But we're kind of on a side. I feel like we butchered this topic to death, so shall I move on to our next one?
I'll wrap up this topic right here with this. There are plenty of reasons why people love their electric cars. I've listed you my primary reasons why I love electric cars. And why, even though, yes, I'm about to buy another gas car, and I'm not necessarily that enthused about that fact, I know for a fact I am 100% buying an electric car at some point, and I know it's going to replace Stardust.
Same. I plan on buying a Tesla to replace my Mercedes-Benz, but sure. Although, I probably won't do this, but my dad and I have also looked at the possibility of maybe a Polestar, because my dad, for some reason, loves Polestar because of their interior design.
That's the thing I've noticed with when it comes to Polestar. It seems like their only marketing selling point is just the fact that they market themselves based off of design. But I personally would not get a Polestar because a big thing is charging. It's going to be half the speed of a Model 3. They don't charge that well. But then also, servicing them is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, I probably won't get one, but if my dad does go electric, which he's likely not going electric. I don't think he's going to go electric for his next car, but if my dad goes electric, then I have a feeling he'll try to go Polestar, although he's still not blind to the idea of a Tesla. But I don't actually, because depends on how long he waits, because if he wants that Model S Plaid, you better get one soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad's still largely looking at a Cadillac, or I don't know if he's still looking, but he wants either a Cadillac Blackwing or maybe a Ford Mustang Dark Horse, or possibly like another BMW sedan. Obviously not an M car, because you can very rarely get those for cheap. My dad got that for a especially good deal. Maybe an Audi. Is your mom going to yoga?
Yes, my mom just came home.
I personally, I get why I get that yoga is healthy for you and all that, but I just don't have a flexible enough body to want to try. I've never really had much of a desire for yoga, but that's a side tangent. So shall we move on to our next main topic?
Yes. So we're getting into rumor territory now.
So the iPhone 18 Pro is rumored to have improved satellite reception that does not require a clear view of the satellite, which is especially helpful if you go out into forests where you might not necessarily have the best view of satellites. Rural forests.
Yeah, I suppose that's helpful.
That's pretty cool, I'll say. It's pretty handy for emergency, which is the main point of cell phones. But shall we go and move on to our next topic?
Oh, this one's
So
concerning.
the budget MacBook is rumored to have 400 nits brightness, which that's slightly lower than usual, but again, I don't think that'll be that bad. And no,
That's not what I'm concerned
I know
about.
that's not the one you're concerned about. We'll get there. No backlit keyboard. I mean that's a minor deal. I mean that's kind of annoying, but I mean I get that.
You know what? Actually, I want to say this while we're on the topic of backlit keyboards. Why is this one not backlit?
$300. How much is it again?
$200.
Okay, Apple needs to backlight that keyboard for crying out loud. Okay, that keyboard definitely needs to be backlit. The Magic Keyboard that one definitely needs backlighting. But the no backlighting keyboard on the budget MacBook. I mean, Apple's done that before, so on their budget MacBook, so I'm not surprised by that. That's honestly just a minor touch, so I get that. But no fast charging, which again, that's just a fast charging is honestly such a vague term. That's just and again, that would help for justify why Apple might not include a power bank with this MacBook. But this is the bad news. Which if they even think about this, and this is going to make the MacBook Air. This is gonna make it probably way too close to the MacBook Air to consider it. But the budget MacBook is possibly going to start $900. Which, granted, they are at least going to release a MacBook Air at the same time, which, if they hike the price of that, then that'll maybe make it worth it. And I'm sure people will go over the budget with the budget MacBook instead. But, I mean, I don't like how Apple prices so many lineups so close together. Like, that's bad business. Because you're effectively just have one guinea pig. So you're just wasting R&D costs at that point. But, also, $900 is not budget. I'm sorry. It is not.
No, it is not. I 100% agree with that. $900 is beginning of like the premium tier. I mean, it's on the edge and all that, but no, budget would be more like $500, $600.
Yeah. At $900, they should just make an 11-inch MacBook Air again. Honestly, that's what they should do for $900. That's justifiable.
Whatever this is, that would be such a terrible value. I tell nobody
granted,
to buy
that's
it.
just a rumor, but given the RAM apocalypse, $900, that's not a price point to throw away until they announce this MacBook.
True.
Because this is just a rumor after.
It's just at the same time, that's bad news for the MacBook Air.
Yeah, which that's another thing. Which when we said that we were going to talk about Apple's supply chain deals later, this is one of the topics we were talking about later. But shall we move on to our next topic, which about MacBook rumors?
So the late 2026 MacBook Pro, that's going to be the redesign, right? All right. It's supposedly going to feature a Samsung display instead of an LG this time around. I think, based off what I'm reading. But Samsung display invested, how many commas is that? $3.1 billion? Yes. $3.1 billion in OLED production for it. Possibly a price hike by $300. Oh gosh, that's bad.
Again, this is the RAM apocalypse. The only thing preventing this from being an actual... Sam Tucker said this before, and I'll say it again. The only thing preventing this from being an actual apocalypse is that there's not enough computers to start the nukes.
Yeah, if those prices legitimately go up that much, I think I'm just going to hold on to my M1 Pro for even longer.
It's not that bad. Like, it's not going to completely discourage me from buying a new MacBook, but buying a new MacBook Pro in late 2027. But, yeah.
Well, I've got other bills to worry about. I got a second car I need to buy. I got a property house to build.
These prices aren't going to go back down. Are probably not going to go back down. So we're just going to have to suck it up and pay it. But I mean, that's just that's. And they're using the redesign to justify it. So they might possibly keep the M5 Pro and M5 Max around alongside it at the normal price point. They might be doing that like they did with the Retina Mac Pro when it first released, and they kept the unibody around. So it might be that type of thing, in which case I can see it, but yeah, no, this isn't. And they might, again, they might reduce it as they're using the redesign to justify the price hike, so they might reduce it eventually, which again, that might be realistic once the Rampocalypse ends, but yeah, that's a little bit of a hike, but shall I go ahead and move on to our next topic?
I'll just say that if it really does go up, especially if it's like if it increases another $500, that's 20%. That's 20% of a price increase. At that point, I'd rather, if something fails on my MacBook Pro, I'd rather just find a replacement part and keep it going at this point. Because I paid $2,500 for that laptop. I don't want to pay $3,000 for the modern day equivalent to it.
Well,
keep in mind, $3,000 is how much my work computer costs.
If only if only SolidWorks worked on the Mac, then you could justify it.
But I can't. Because as of right now, the MacBook, I have not really used that to make much money. I mean, I've been building YouTube, of course, but YouTube has not paid me a single thing. So all of the work, all of the videos I've edited on that laptop, I've not earned a single penny from that back. And not gonna lie, I've been debating on actually selling the iMac.
I understand totally why you'd sell the iMac, but yeah, that's kind of... Yeah, Now, granted, if SolidWorks comes to the Mac, then I think we all know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, I'd be using that, although... At this point, I'm not even sure, because I've just invested $3,000 in a computer at work. It's like, I'm not just going to instantly throw that thing away. And it's harder to sell custom builds, because with custom-built PCs, there's no warranty, aside from
whatever you make a valid
came
point.
with the parts. And so, yeah, it is much harder to sell a custom-built PC. Albeit, the RAM would definitely go for... I would 100% profit on the memory.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of obvious, but I think we've kind of butchered that.
But no, nonetheless, I can't just do... I'd effectively have to buy another computer, the way that our computer system is set up. I'd effectively have to buy a new computer if I were to switch to a Mac again. I can't use my personal laptop for that. I just can't, due to policy. So I'd effectively have to buy a second Mac, and I'm not going to do that. But no, with how the iMac's performance, the fact that it is always overheating on me, I've just been thinking of once I'm done, once I get paid off on the Apple Card, I've just been thinking of putting it up on eBay or Marketplace or something, and because the performance has been lackluster, and I find myself gravitating back to the MacBook Pro a little more because of that. And while I thought, okay, I'd have all this use for 3 monitors and such, turns out, no, not really. I've just been using 2.
Exactly, and you can just buy, and your camera setup isn't exactly going to happen that fast. So I mean, I totally, and also there's rumors of an iMac Pro coming out later this summer anyway. So,
and that would probably be better for that task, regardless. Yes. So at that point, I don't really have much. I mean, it's cool. It's been cool using the iMac while I have it. But once I get it, because I did the financing thing on the Apple Card, because there's no interest, so it's literally the same price as if I just paid it in full. But once that's done, once that's off my card, I'm probably just going to put it up on eBay. Probably put that towards the second car, if I'm being honest.
How long is it going to be before you pay off your iMac?
I'll come to think of it, it'll be in. Well, I could always pay it off early. There is a way to pay it off early, so I probably do it in.
Oh
April,
yeah, that'll be
April
totally in time for that. Should be in plenty of time for the new iMac, Mac Pro if it does come out. So yeah, no. I say I didn't fully. I honestly, if I was you, I wouldn't have even bought the iMac in the first place. So
yeah. Although there is one thing that I am, as much as it would suck for the buyer, I really want to try to keep the keyboard and the mouse.
I get it. Don't. Yeah,
I'm gonna try to just sell the iMac by itself. I'll pretend that I sold the keyboard and mouse because I used my own peripherals.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
When I legitimately just want to keep the mouse and the keyboard.
They probably.
But no, as for the computer itself, it's redundant. I'm better off just using the MacBook, and I'd probably be able to justify the purchase even more if I was legitimately making money, but I'm not.
Exactly.
So,
you spent over $1,000, and this isn't like internet systems where redundancy is a good thing. Which we covered that in my AP Computer Science class, by the way. We're covering that right now, so
yeah. Yeah, come to think, I spent about $2,000 on this iMac.
Ouch! I would not have spent two. I would not have done. Ouch!
I did it because I needed the terabyte storage. That was non-negotiable.
Yeah.
So that's why it cost about $2,000. It's because I got the one with 4 USB-C ports because somehow they are still selling a 2 USB-C port model.
That's probably intended for average Joes that don't really connect many USB peripherals.
That's still stupid in my opinion. You're complicating manufacturing for no reason.
That's valid,
but yeah, of course, I got the one with 4 because I do use the ports. 2 of them are always being taken up by my monitors right here. And then I have the charging cable for my Magic peripherals, plus I use the same cable for when I plug in my external hard drive. So I do use the ports, but nonetheless, it's just... it was a combination of getting the 4-port model plus the terabyte of storage. So that's why it's so expensive. But no, I legitimately do not need this machine.
I get it.
Especially if it performs worse than my MacBook.
Exactly. So shall I go ahead and move on to our next topic?
Yep.
So
what's
in
next?
terms of the iOS 27 Help app, Apple canceled their plans for a Health Plus subscription, which that's good because that would never sell anyway. All features for the subscription are coming in for free in iOS 27, which that's nice. Apple is scaling back plans for their AI health coach. I'm stoked about that. And this is going to be interesting to see how it works. If it works, it'll be good. It'll apparently have the ability to detect people's walking abilities with iPhone cameras to detect unsteadiness in people when they walk. And it'll also include nutrition planning, which, yeah, that's the... Nutrition planning, I mean, for people who use Weight Watchers and that type of stuff and pay for that, I mean... If it does that type of stuff, then that'll be handy because Weight Watchers is a subscription service that costs like $40 to $50 a month. I have basically zero plans to go on a diet, but
I mean, I've been trying to buy better groceries. Yes. For example, I complain about my weight a lot. I'm not a fan of where it's gotten. It's not bad. It's not like I'm obese or anything. I mean, if you're watching the video version of the show, yeah, you can tell I'm not obese or anything. But at the same time, I'm a 5'8" male that weighs nearly 200 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, I weigh like 245. I weigh like 245 right now, and I'm 6'3", I think. So I'm not that, but that's not that. So I mean, I'm not necessarily obese, but I mean, I much rather make. It always drives me nuts when people suddenly decide, oh, I'm going on a diet, and they temporarily stop eating, and they just only temporarily make changes like that. I'm never doing that. Like, I'm just gonna make like, if I have to make gradual changes, I will. But I've generally found that if you have a decent diet in the first place, then you're not gonna be that. Then you shouldn't really be that obese anyway. And also, and that's not like it's gonna help because it seems like my family has some more genes for a little bit heavier weight, but
yeah, for me, I mean, I hate watching a lot of my older videos. Not because I was a moron back then. I'm still a moron today. But I hate watching my older videos because when I look at myself, I want you to go on YouTube right now and click on a video of mine
from
I remember 2023.
Oh, no, I remember how skinny you used to be. I remember.
And I am not that anymore. And I hate looking at myself on camera right now. I do. And so I've been trying to make some changes by eating less, for one. Just for one, just not ingesting as many calories. I've swapped out. I'm a huge pasta fan, which probably isn't helping, but that's the Italian in me. I love pasta. I'm switching up brands of pasta well, okay, spoiler, my mom actually buys the pasta because it's her kitchen that I'm using. So, but I'm starting to buy my own pasta that's better. Like macaroni and cheese, I make that a lot for lunch because it's quick and I can make it in 15 minutes. So I switched away from Kraft. I'm now buying the Annie's brand, which is a lot better.
Yeah. The Annie's brand is so good. Everything they make is good, so.
Yeah. Except the Parmesan flavor. I really did not like the Parmesan.
I don't even eat macaroni and cheese in the first place, but I'm also lactose intolerant, so I don't really try. So I just try to avoid lactose if I can, except in pizza.
Fair enough. But yeah, I'm trying to make simple changes like that. Just buying better quality food, trying to eat less of it too. Albeit that the buying part is harder because for some reason it's expensive.
That's why you generally see more That's why generally the higher the obesity, the lower your income. Like that's why those things correlate.
I also just find it bizarre how, I mean, most of the time what makes a food worse is just they're adding more crap into it. Maybe not necessarily like obvious crap. It's just when you read the ingredients list, why is there so many ingredients added into this when the healthier stuff has fewer ingredients? So you'd think the more ingredients you add, well, that means it should be more expensive, but somehow it's the complete opposite.
I know that's one of the reasons why we have such high obesity problems in the United States.
It's just they made the crap cheaper somehow, and I don't understand how they made the crap cheaper because it's crap because there's more ingredients that are completely unnecessary.
Exactly. Like, did you know that McDonald's French fries have 18 ingredients in them?
Shouldn't it just be potatoes and
There's
salt?
There's 3 ingredients that you need for French fries. Potatoes, salt, and frying oil, and this isn't necessarily McDonald's fries, but if you want to add more seasoning, do that.
I mean, that's the computer going to sleep again. It's not glitching.
It probably won't do it on this episode because we're trying to demo it.
Yeah, of course, when you're trying to demo it, it's not going to do it. But, I mean, I'll let you know how we make French fries. We literally cut a baked potato. Well, not baked, but we cut a normal potato into the shape of fries. We douse them in salt, and then we bake them in the oven. That's it.
Yeah,
and they're tasty. They taste good.
You can do that too. That's, I mean, we don't cover on potatoes, so we buy our fries frozen at my house, but we heat them up in the air fryer, which is just a mini convection oven, and they taste just as good.
Oh yeah, we'll do the same too. And so, yeah, to me, the one thing I can't understand about the food industry is how is it the crap stuff is cheaper? I mean, you think, okay, crappy products in general are typically cheaper than quality products, but this is food! The crappy stuff is the stuff with more ingredients and more crap added to it than the healthy stuff. And yet, somehow it's cheaper? Somebody make that math work.
Yeah.
It's as if they're subsidizing it to make us unhealthy on purpose.
Yep, that's probably their plans, but yeah, either way, the iOS 720. Do you have anything more to say about the iOS 27 health app? Rumors are showing move on to other iOS 27 rumors.
No, I don't think I do. I don't typically use the app anyways. I use the fitness app, but I don't really use the health app.
Do you use
the
so. What else? Do you work out anymore by chance? Like, have you done... You still don't have time to do that?
I should. I mean, I used to do laps in the basement until my dad started sleeping down there. So now I can't do laps in the basement. Yes, it's as dumb as it sounds.
Let me guess. He tore up his old bedroom?
No, it's just the problem is he snores, and my mom, being a teacher now, well, she needs to get quality sleep if she's going to go to work. So, my parents have not been sleeping together solely for that reason.
At least your parents aren't getting divorced.
Oh, no, that's not happening in a long... They're a lot closer than many other parents, I'll say that much. Even though I hear a lot of stress between them. It's not because they're stressed about each other, it's because money is tight.
Yeah,
that type of stuff.
That makes more... Shall we go and move on to our next topic?
Yeah, what is it?
Other iOS 27 rumors.
Oh, number 5. Okay, so what do we have? Siri to have more locally stored facts and stories without searching the web.
Okay.
If I'm being honest, though, before we move on to the rest of the stuff in that, I really don't use Siri for much.
No, I only use it in CarPlay, really, when I need the hands-free stuff. Or when I need hands-free operations.
Yeah. Yeah, Siri is really the only time... The only time I use her is just when I'm in the car. And a very small handful of cases here in this room, because I've got the HomePod Mini. Oftentimes I'll use her for timers, but it's really basic
stuff. Only other time I use Siri besides in the car is sometimes when I'm in my laundry room and I forgot to check the weather on my iPad. Sometimes I want to go back out to my family room to get my iPads, check the weather, which I'm glad I can do that now, at least. Sometimes I'll just ask my Apple Watch what the weather will be the next day, just so I can pick out clothes accordingly. But otherwise, I don't really ever use Siri unless I'm demoing it in a YouTube video, which even that's very rare.
Yeah. I think part of it... Well, no, not part. I think the majority of it comes down to I just prefer to do everything myself. So, and I wonder how true this is for everyone else, the average Joe. Why do you need a chatbot? Why do you need... I mean, the AI stuff in general. Why do you need it to do this stuff for you? It's the simplest task. It's not that hard to do.
I know. It's like my English teacher who's been teaching for such a long time now. She just like one of her latest assignments that she assigned us. It was so obviously AI. She obviously used AI to create that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, most of the stuff that people ask AI, I'm like, why not just do it yourself? You're gonna find a more accurate answer if you're going. Most of the time, it's a basic inquiry question, like you could ask a stranger. It's like,
Exactly.
just Google it.
Yeah. Now, granted, my grandma doesn't always Google stuff, so sometimes she usually does resort to asking Siri questions rather than Google as our main method of Googling. But she also doesn't seem to know entirely how to use Safari because whenever I view her devices, I always see open tabs, except on her computer, so I always have to close them out. But yeah, that's beside the point. But yeah, that's going on. So yeah, but that's and then my dad often uses Siri to open apps for him because he often doesn't feel like opening apps himself, and he doesn't want to search for them.
At that point, that's just lazy. I mean, no offense, but at that point,
well,
that's
part
just pure laziness.
Part of it is no, yeah. My dad doesn't even like looking for apps himself, so yeah, he just asks Siri to open apps most of the time now. Like if you meet him, I swear you will 100% hear him say, "I'm sorry for triggering your devices by saying this, but hey Siri, open Waze or Spotify or Slack or whatever my dad uses."
That is sad. I mean, don't tell him I said that, but I'm sorry. That is just sad. I mean, I'll admit this one thing though. This happened a couple days ago. I accidentally dropped my phone outside, and snow. It was just completely covered in snow, and water made its way under the screen protector, and I could not use the touchscreen in certain spots. And so, as stupid as I was just mocking your dad for that, I was asking Siri to take me to the home screen.
That makes a little bit more sense, but my dad will just do that. My dad will do that literally My dad will do that so often. This is partially related to voice control.
Nonetheless, though, I still think it's dumb. Especially, I mean, in my instance, it was because my touchscreen was covered in water. There was a physical problem preventing me to do my function. There is nothing stopping him from touching the screen.
Yeah, in fact, one time, this is partially related, but this is. One time my dad was mad at this driver for this Mustang in front of us that kept switching lanes, and so he was honking on his wheel of his M. This is like in 2023 or 2024. He was honking hard on the wheel of his M6. This is on an on ramp of 2 lanes of emergency. He was honking so hard that the wheel said pick a direction. He accidentally triggered the voice control button on his steering wheel, which triggered Siri on his phone, and he was yelling pick a direction. He did not actually say pick a direction. You put an F-bomb in there, and then Siri and then his voice assistant replied, and the BMW's voice said, "I'm sorry, I couldn't find a song with that title."
Whoo! Okay. That's certainly bizarre.
It's because his M6's voice control is very basic, because it's from 2016 after all.
Yeah. So.
Technically 2015 because it's a 2016 model year, but because of the car industry's dumb way of doing it. But shall we move on to our next, or I guess our next subtopic is that there's satellite directions and maps coming to iOS 27, which that is handy, I'll admit that. And although offline maps also work, so.
What do you mean satellite directions? Are you talking like an actual satellite view?
No. Non-actual satellite view. I'm talking like directions that come from a satellite. Because apparently offline maps aren't enough. So yes, that's happening. Rumored to happen. a possibility for third-party apps to add the ability to communicate with satellites. That'll be interesting, I guess. Improved collection tab in photos and improving the AirPods pairing process.
How about AirPods repairing process? Because I still have that bug, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, at least they're gonna improve that. So yeah, that'll be. And my dad also back when my dad had AirPods, because my dad keeps losing his AirPods. Back when my dad had AirPods, he always got frustrated whenever, well, really any Bluetooth audio device wouldn't pair properly. So I imagine he'd be glad to hear that.
I just hope that this. Where's the stability?
Stability is still rumored to be a key feature.
That's the rumor I want to hear.
So...
I hope that's the case.
Same. So. Shall I go ahead and move on to our next topic, though? It's a bit of a controversial one.
Ooh, yeah, so I can see why.
So apparently Ring featured this in a Super Bowl ad about the search party feature, where it basically links up all the neighbors' cameras together to use it to be able to search for missing dogs in an area, but unsurprisingly, Ring is rumored to plan to extend this beyond dogs to humans, tracking humans. This should require no explanation, as this is a bit of a violation of the Fourth Amendment, people's Fourth Amendment rights. And could theoretically get Amazon sued for this, because Amazon owns Ring.
It really feels like... I mean, what sucks is there is a good intention behind this. It's to find a missing person, probably most likely a missing child, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's just...
That's the...
No. Nobody
There's
wants
two problems
that.
with that. First, there's two other problems with that. First of all, this can be easily used to not only for them to see everything, including your medicine deliveries, which that can be used to hike your insurance prices in turn. But number two, this is a big one, which is that it's going to be a view from your front porch anyway. And so with missing children, especially, like you're going to see, like if there's a missing child out walking in the streets, that one Ring camera and see that probably somebody in the neighborhood is going to be able to see that. And number three, this is a big one. Kidnapped people are usually never visible on the streets. They're usually never visible. That's just, yeah. Sorry for saying that, but it's the truth.
Nonetheless, I know for a fact when I do build a house, I'm not using any of those fancy Ring doorbell cameras or any like that. If I am going to have a camera system around the house, for one, the cameras are only going to be placed outside, not inside. And two, they'd be feeding into a server that only exists in the house and not accessible to the internet.
Same. I'm doing the same thing with when I get my own house, I am doing that for sure. Because I'm sure there's lots of software you can get to do that. I mean, even Ugreen's...
Yeah, there's plenty of security software that allows you to set up your own server and not have to rely on Amazon or
with
Google
subscription services, mind you,
provide the server to store that footage. So, nonetheless, I'm not... I mean, also, given where I live, the general area where I live, the crime rate is just so low. Like, we don't even have a problem with porch pirates.
Yes. I mean, my crime rate is a little bit higher than Alpha's, so we do have a little bit more of a higher concern for crime. But I mean, I'll definitely have cameras outside the house. Probably not in, but definitely outside the house, because usually if something's going on, because usually if something's going on inside the house, I mean, my plan is just to have a basic alarm system, because or if people actively break into it. In my house, my dogs will immediately bark at you if you try breaking my house. Good luck, because my dogs will stop you, and that's the main reason why I want to adopt dogs, because even normal dogs should be able to stop a break-in.
as long as they don't have any meat with them. Because if they bring a steak with them, ooh, your dog's going to be very much distracted.
Oh crap! Alpha, don't give burglars any ideas, because think about it, the cost to buy a steak is far less than the value of stuff that they're going to get inside the house.
I don't even have to give it to them. That's a standard thing in the criminal playbook. At least
it's not. Alpha, you're giving criminals ideas.
Well, then again, most criminals are not that smart. I watched a video with my sister. Apparently, porch price. Someone trying to steal a package as the delivery driver was delivering it to the house. Somebody tried to steal the package from the recipient. There was actually two guys. There were two guys trying to steal it. They were trying to take it from the delivery man when they, completely oblivious to the delivery truck with hundreds of more packages with the door wide open. That's how stupid they were. So, yeah, as it turns out, most criminals, they're not really that smart. The reason why they think they can get away with it is typically because they completely forgot about a specific detail that never came across their mind. So, yeah, they really are not. Yeah. So, but I know for certain I am not installing any of those Ring doorbells or Ring cameras.
Same, but I don't know really if I have anything else to say. So, because Alpha wants to end the show early, shall we go ahead and end the show now?
Yep, I do have other things that I desperately need to do tonight. Things that are not relevant.
I don't even know what he's doing.
Yeah. That's because it's not important for you to know.
As always, thank you all for tuning into our episode of iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Mack from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha with an injured.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that much. As always, we are saying peace out for now, and we hope to see you all in the next episode. And take care, everyone.